What is going on, everyone? It's Nick from Breaking the Clutch, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic Monday. Today's gameplay is going to be a 1v1, and I'm going to show off some of Shipmaster's ability. Now, I know in the previous, I think it was like 2 months ago, I suggested that Shipmaster was the worst leader in the Banished, and at the time I did stand by that. I didn't understand that Locusts were such a unit and such a threat as a unit, and I don't think most people did back when the game first came out, because I didn't see a lot of Locust Rush until maybe a month, maybe just a few weeks ago. I think it was when Locust became really relevant in the game. So with that said, when we figured out that Locusts were the best banished unit and they were extremely viable to use, we tried a bunch of different banished leaders, and one that we stuck with was Atriox, and this happened, I believe it was yesterday. So we were running Atriox, Pat, myself, and Preston, Atriox, and double Kinsanu, and we ran into a team of 3. One of the players was familiar with our tournament videos that came out, I believe, just a couple weeks ago, and his name was Platz, and he suggested a lot of different things to us, and it really rattled up our mindset, and it was for the best, absolutely for the best. Since he suggested the information that he provided was, or one of the things that he suggested was that we switch from Atriox to Shipmaster, and he believed that Atriox was a suicide leader. For instance, when you're Atriox and you're defending your side of the map, your leader abilities are almost irrelevant. Reason for that being is if you use invulnerability on your side of the map, enemy player can just walk away. As long as his back is towards his base and he just puts himself in that position, then he's not pinched in any capacity. Now, in the other case, the only way that Atriox is a viable leader is if you are the one attacking. So there's a clear difference here, and I want to make sure that's understood before people comment and say that Atriox isn't a bad leader. I'm not saying that at all. You've just got to be on the offensive attack. You've got to be on the offense for Atriox to be utilized properly. So specifically speaking about Shipmaster, Platz suggested that he's got the ability to teleport units out from the enemy side and back to the main, and they're able to be healed by means of extract, I believe it is, or I can't remember what it's called. But what you do is it's like the second upgrade you get, and you click, you think it takes like 6 or 7 units, and it brings it all the way back to your base, and it puts a heal on them immediately. So that's fantastic. You're able to not only do damage to a base, but bring your units back, heal them up, and then you can transition over again to a new part of the map because you have teleport. So think about this, and this gameplay will illustrate a little bit of his Shipmaster's abilities with the Locust. So you'll be able to see this just in a bit, but just imagine this as of now. You're attacking the enemy base with Locust. For instance, say that they have a lot of units pushing towards you, and you see no way out. Maybe they're about to eradicate you, or they're about to drop a carpet bomb, whatever it is. Or specifically speaking about Kinsanu, maybe they're going to drop a Inferno, sorry. So how do you get out of that? If you extract your units back to the main base, they start healing up immediately. Then you take that and you teleport your units to, I believe it's, I think it's about a quarter of the map you can teleport units to. So you take them from your base and then you move them immediately once they're healed to a new part of the map. The ability to switch your units up from around the map so the enemy doesn't know where they're at is absolutely crucial, especially with Locusts, because they are extremely weak. There's no doubting that Locusts are weak. This is why Atriox was thought to be the best leader with the Locust, because he had abilities such as Dying Breath, and he had abilities like Invulnerability, stuff like that, and Atriox Bulwark. So this is why this was previously thought, and there's still nothing wrong with that. If you want to run Atriox is still a fine play as long as you're on the offensive. Again, Shipmaster as of now, I do believe is the best, and I do thank you, Platz, for pointing this out and kind of rattling my mind, because I was kind of fixated on properly fixing the double Kinsanu Atriox play, and I didn't even think to switch to Shipmaster. I kind of wrote him off. So for anyone who saw my previous video, I believe it was like when we had like 200 or 300 subs, so not a lot of people were from this channel probably saw it, but if anyone is under the impression that Shipmaster is a bad leader, I do apologize about that, and I was absolutely wrong about that. So let's go ahead and break down some of this gameplay analysis right here since I got all that spiel out of the way. So right now I'm going to go ahead and scout my opponent's main base. I see that, yeah, I saw that he had a couple of Marines hanging around the map, and then I see on his main base he's got absolutely nothing going for him. I guess it's just your standard build. He's just a little slow to upgrade his main base, and this could be because he's expanding around the map right now. He's making a lot of units. I don't know if he's got anything other than Marines. I know Marines don't cost power, so that wouldn't affect it, but I don't know if he's upgraded his turrets. I don't know any of that. So as of right now, I'm in a great position to take over the game with my Locust. Now, if you'll look back at my main base, I've got 3 turrets and a generator. This is because how I run the build that I do, or the strategy that I do, Shipmaster's weak in the beginning. Kansanu Rush with the Jackrabbits is very viable. Marine Rush with the turret is a viable play. But this is all preventable, or this is all at least stoppable if you scout properly in the early game. Moving from that, I've got the shield up on my base. I've got locusts coming out, and you'll notice that I'm tucking them right behind my base with the shield generator guarding them. This is crucial. Locusts right now are pretty broken with the way that they shoot. They can shoot through buildings right now. I'm going to take advantage of that while I can. With the shield generator, they're defended from my opponent, and I'm also able to shoot through the base at the units. Plus, I've got 3 turrets. So if he's going to rush me right now with any amount of units, I will be able to stop him very easily. I'm going to eventually have to transition from getting it. So right now I'm trying to just get enough locusts at the moment so I can make a push towards his base. And with locusts, they're kind of like, actually they're almost exactly like sentinels. They've got to be kept secret. You've got to make sure you maneuver them around the map very carefully, because they are very weak units, just like sentinels. If you run up against the wrong unit, they will rinse you very quickly. So you've got to make sure that you're maneuvering your locusts around the map accordingly. Now, with Shipmaster, I'm able to teleport out pretty quickly if I run into a situation like that, or I'm also able to displace my opponents if I need to. A lot of different things I can do with Shipmaster that weren't possible before, and I know that Banished in general have the ability to teleport, but that is the only ability they have. It's just the one teleport that correlates over to Shipmaster. With Shipmaster, I've got a lot more options on how to manipulate my opponent and also manipulate my units, so that way I am in the best position possible throughout the game. Now you'll see that I'm transitioning over here on the left. What I've got to make sure is that he does not spot me based on the power nodes that he has. This is why you'll see me utilize the left side of the map, because I've got a regen right next to me, and if I do encounter any of his units, I'll be able to constantly heal myself with the regen. As I don't know if you guys have noticed with the regen on the map, I tested this in a 1v1 scenario. If you have a Marine versus a Marine inside of that regen, no one will ever die. It's a constant heal. So it's good that I have this spot right here. I'll be able to double check and make sure that in case I run up against anything, I've got at least that. So it's very crucial to make sure that you manipulate your units accordingly when you're running Locusts. Now you'll see that I've transitioned some of my Locusts over to this part of the map, and the reason I did that was because I know he's got that power node right there. So what I'm trying to do is kind of just trick him. I don't want him to know how many locusts I have pushing that way. So I've got my 2 locusts right here that came from my base. They're attacking his mini base. He does not know that I have locusts pushing right behind his base at this very moment. And at the moment, if he looked and saw that I had locusts pushing across one of his power nodes that he owned, he only saw maybe 1 or 2 of them there. So as of now, he's under the impression that I have maybe 3 or 4 locusts. He has not spotted any of the other ones. This is crucial. Again, you've got to be tricky. You've got to go incognito with your locusts. You can't let them be spotted, because they're very weak units. Now you'll see he's dropping in a carpet. I'm going to go ahead and bail. Very quickly, I brought my units back to the base. I'm going to try again. No reason to panic. You've got time with when they're dropping airstrikes on you, infernos, anything like that, even eradication beam. You have time. If you are Shipmaster, do not panic. Just simply make a calm play and bring your units back to your base. You can even try using teleport, anything like that. The reason I prefer to just bring them back to my base is it's a one-click thing. You don't have to do a double click like you do with teleport, so it's a little bit easier if you're trying to avoid being carpet bombed or anything like that. So that's why I used that. Now the next thing I've got to worry about is the fact that he's got a bunch of Hornets, he's got a bunch of Cyclops, he's got Marines, he's got a good mix of an army. Issue with that is that I've got the ability to transition into Reavers if I need to. But again, he's got Cyclops, so I do have to worry about, running into an encounter where I cannot bail. Shipmaster is all about leaving scenarios or moving your units or moving the enemy units away from you, so that way you can again make the best situation for yourself, because locusts are slow, locusts are very weak. If you get caught up in the wrong mix, you will get attacked. So you'll notice I cut across the bridge and I'm going to try to push the right side. I don't realize that he's got that power node right next to me. After this engagement right here, I will notice that and I make a grunt and take over some of these power nodes on the map. So he saw me based on the power nodes and he pushes me on the right. No big deal, I'm going to back off. He's not going to attack me because locusts have such great range, and they're probably going to pick off several units before he's even able to shoot me once. So locusts have the ability to again push off a lot of players from attacking you if you just keep moving them back. That's the great thing about locusts at this very moment. They will shoot units that they see accordingly. So you do not have to go ahead and you don't have to click on certain units to have them shoot. If there is a unit that is barely out of line, the locust will shoot that one by itself. They'll kind of focus fire it on its own. So you'll notice right here, I'm trying to pull his army a little bit away from his base because I don't know exactly what he's got or how many turrets he has and stuff like that. You'll notice I pushed up to this base, I'm trying to get the height advantage. And he kind of pushed me, and it was a bit of an uncomfortable situation, so I just displaced his units. Now I've got height advantage. Now his Marines cannot shoot me. Only thing I have to worry about is the the Hornets. So how do I deal with that? I'm gonna go ahead and sack that, and I'm gonna make a foundry on it. Anytime I lose units based on at this point right now, I'm just gonna reproduce them right there. As of now, the only possible way that I can lose is if I overextend. So I just got to make sure that any engagement that I have my locust push at, it's one that I can possibly win or one that I can possibly push back on. You'll notice right here, I'm trying to figure out how many or what are my leader powers that are available to me right now. I notice I don't have any, so I've got to be extremely careful. Any push right now could lose me the game. It really could. So I've got to make sure that I'm able to just harass as often as I possibly can. You'll notice that I'm pumping out Reavers now right here, and I'm going to keep backing my units up. That's the thing with locusts. You don't want them right underneath. You want them to be as far away from the enemy as possible. I'm going to go ahead and mass cloak. That was the pickup that I chose at the very last second because I saw in that mix that he had, he didn't have anything that could spot me. No snipers, anything like that. So I opted for the mass cloak, which was a great play on this particular situation. Mass cloak's not great in general because most of the time they do have spotter units. But for this particular scenario, again, I can't overextend. I didn't have any ways to teleport out, so I chose mass cloak to make sure that I did not lose that engagement. Again, anytime I lose units right now, I'm going to go ahead and produce some Reavers because I know he's got a lot of Hornets. So this game is pretty much over. I've kind of utilized all the Shipmaster's abilities to make sure that I was in a situation to win, and again, it paid off greatly. Right here, he's got some units. I'm going to go ahead and back him up. I'm not ready for that engagement. I don't know if I have enough Reavers. I've got to just double check in my head. I've got to double check on the map and see what I have. Because sometimes when you get in these heated engagements, you don't realize exactly what units you have, how many units you have left, stuff like that. So it gives me a second to process exactly what just happened and what's about to happen again when he pushes back. So again, that is the entire game. I hope you guys did enjoy. There was a lot to cover in this gameplay. If you would like to see some more, and again, there's the dodge. Again, you do lose a couple of units. Some units don't make it back, but look, for the amount of units that did come through that teleporter, that's pretty great. So, again, thank you guys so much for watching. Is there anything that I didn't cover in this gameplay with the Shipmaster's abilities? Any critiques that you have of my gameplay? Any critiques you have of Shipmaster? Anything that I didn't spot that would benefit Shipmaster or this gameplay? You guys let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.